Antwerp is a city in Belgium that has been inhabited with Jewish communities since the 16th century. The community was 50,000 people in 1940. When the city was liberated after the war, 800 Antwerp Jews came out from hiding. This is a photo of a little girl holding two dogs in Antwerp, Belgium in 1938. This is Augusta Feldhorn. She was the daughter of Julius and Margaret Feldhorn. She was born on May 29, 1934 in Vienna, where her father and Uncle Adolf owned a felt hat factory. In October 1938, her father took her out of the German-occupied Austria and traveled illegally to Antwerp. The rest of her family joined them in Antwerp a little while later. In May 1940, the Germans invaded Belgium, and the family fell under the Nazi occupation. The Feldhorn family moved to Brussels in 1942. The whole family lived together in one building, but Augusta was placed with a Belgian non-Jewish family across the street from the rest of her family. One day she was looking through the window and she saw her father, uncle, aunt, and cousin being arrested by the Germans. They were deported to Auschwitz, where they all died. Her mother avoided deportations since she was out of the house at the time. In June 1942, Margaret placed Augusta in a convent, which was a Christian community school. She worked in the same convent, working in the kitchen. Margaret changed Augusta's name to Augusta de Cluman. After liberation, Augusta and her mom stayed in Brussels until 1949, when they moved to the United States. The Jewish community in New York that I am part of is great. I am part of the Ramaz community and the Syrian community. In this photo is me, Sonia Duche, and my brother Jack Duche. At the time this picture was taken, I was 6 years old and my brother was a couple months old. This picture was taken in the summer of 2005, when our family was taking professional photos. I am holding my brother, and I care a lot about him and I love him. The lives of me and my brothers are obviously easier than Augusta's because we did not have to go through the difficulties and tragedies that she went through, and that her and her family experienced. My family and Augusta's lives are also very similar. She's very excited to get these two dogs and cares and loves about them, just like I was very excited to have a new baby brother and I care and love him too. This is a wedding photo of a Jewish couple, Leah Mendelowitz and Alex Siemchenau, in Antwerp, Belgium. They got married there in 1930 to 1935. Leah's sister met a man who owned a factory, so Leah's family lived in that factory. Leah was now living in Brussels, and her family moved to the factory to Leah's house. Leah was living as a faithful Christian. Leah and her family moved to many places. In 1944, Fanny, Leah's sister, found out that Leah and her family had been arrested and deported to Auschwitz, and that only Alex survived, who was killed by Poles when he returned to his hometown to reclaim his parents' home. These are my grandparents, Sonia and Jack Duche. They got married in New York in 1963. My grandparents are very smart, loving, caring, humble, and are always there for us. The Syrian community that they and I are part of is very big, but everybody's caring for one another and everybody's like a big family. My grandparents' lives and Leah and Alex's lives are very similar. My grandparents only got married 30 years after Leah and Alex got married. My grandparents were also born a couple years after that Alex and Leah got married. Their lives are probably very similar, except for the fact that my grandparents didn't have to experience the horrible things that couple had to experience in Antwerp. These are two little girls who are sisters, heading out for their first day of school in Antwerp, Belgium, where their family had fled shortly after the Nazi seizure of power. On the left is Shlomit Posner, and on the right is Gita Posner. Their father served as the town's rabbi. They also owned a store in Kiel. Their father buried a man killed by the Nazis. Their congregation urged him to move since they were in danger, but but he felt that he could not leave his congregation. After being persuaded to move, they moved to Antwerp. Their family later moved to Palestine in mid-1935. This is me on my first day of school, going into second grade. I was 7 years old. I am part of the Ramaz community, which is a very amazing community with many intelligent people and a wonderful congregation. The community is very caring and encourages everybody to do good things to help, and to strive toward achieving great goals and getting the best education possible. My life and the life of those two little girls are very similar. All three of us went to school in uniforms and bring bags and take pictures on the first day of school, and we have a very similar life on a daily basis. Our lives are all somewhat different because of the different times we were living in. I, as a younger child, growing up, had different toys than they did. I also had a very happy childhood that was free of worry, unlike the two little girls who had to run away from the Nazis. I have learned many things from this project. I have learned that my life and my relative lives are extremely similar to those who experienced the Holocaust. I have learned about many new people and a new city. I also realized that how the Holocaust is very recent. I always feel like it was so long ago, but once you do research and find out dates and see how it connects to your life, it was really not so long ago, and that the lives of these people are not very different. I enjoy this project because I love learning about this, and I love learning about the lives of these people who are just like us, except that they had to experience these horrible tragedies.